I'm back again, folks. A few days ago my daughter brought over a Panasonic vacuum cleaner. It's a cylinder cleaner, and she said it was making a dreadful noise. And sure enough, I plugged it in and it's making a screaming noise. Sounded just like the bearings to me. And as most people know who repair these things, there's not a great deal you can do. They often use sealed motors, and the only cure is a complete replacement motor, which of course the cost is so great that it's cheaper to buy a new machine. It's a terrible waste, really, and many millions of these machines get thrown away. Often the new ones are manufactured in the Far East, so they're not like the machines of old where you can get all the individual parts for them. So the next job is to take it apart, and we'll have a look at the motor and just see what's what. There's the motor. So basically the motor comes with a rubber mounting disc there and another rubber mount on the top. The thing I wanted to show you was, this is the motor cover. Look at the state of the wiring inside there. It looks to me as though the motor's been actually spinning inside the case. I can't think of any other reason. I don't know why it should, because it has the plastic bushes on the top which locate it, which should stop it from spinning around, but I can't think why else those wires will be twisted up. It's amazing it didn't blow a fuse. Now here we have the motor, and as you can see it's basically a sealed unit. There's definitely bearing wear. I can feel it by turning the end here. I can feel that it's very rough and there is some play on there, so it's obviously the bearings. They're not normally replaceable, but the question is, it's either throw it away or see if it can be repaired, so I'm going to have a go at it. Now it's not easy to get the carbon brush holders out. You can get the brushes out by bending over the piece on the end, but to get the holder out, there is one screw in there, but there's also, it's how it's crimped together. The wire comes off the field card and is just crimped under this brass tag. Now I've taken the wires off the carbon brush holders. They were just clamped on. It's a bit of a fiddle. As I said, its motor isn't really designed to be taken apart. There's the brush holder, brush holder. As you can see, it's just got a little, it's not a screw fitting like you'd have on the old Hoover machines. It's just clamped, the field coil wire is just clamped between a bit of brass, which isn't ideal, but at least we've got it off anyway. Now there are two bearings in it, one in the top and one in the bottom under the fan. And the chances are it's the one under the fan that's gone that's making the noise. So the next job is to try and get this fan chamber off, and it's not going to be easy because it's sort of rammed on there, but usually you can clout it off. So I'm going to leave this top piece on so I can actually put this in the vise and then tap this off. That's the only way really of getting it off. So just use a blunt bladed screwdriver or a blunt cold chisel or whatever, if you've got anything really, a piece of metal, to try and tap it off. And all you've got to do is get a small hammer and just tap it around like this. Don't tap it all in one place, just move your hammer around and you'll find eventually it will come off. There you go. So now we've got the cover off, you can see that it's just a single fan in there, and by turning it I can feel that it is very rough, the bearing in there. Just get a little box spanner and you should be at it. Should undo quite easily. Make a note of which way the fan goes on when you take it off, and note the two washers. There will be a washer either side of the fan, you see, a large washer either side to protect it. It's only very thin aluminium, so you've got two washers. It's always best to make a habit to put the parts down in the order they come off. So if I put them in there, I'll remember. You'll probably find there's a little spacer on there. There's a little spacer. They usually have a spacer on, so make sure that goes on. So now you can see there are two screws in there, so you can take that plate off. We'll do that next. There's no way Panasonic ever supplied any spares for their motor. The exception was carbon brushes, I believe. Now you can see the coil sticking through, and there's the bearing inside there, look. One thing I should have mentioned, I'm always forgetting to say this, make sure you mark the motor before you take it apart. You can see I've put a little scratch mark on there. When you put it back together again, you get it in the right order, because it is best to get it exactly as you take it apart. Let's hope we can get it all back together again. Let's hope we've got a bearing to fit it. Right, so that's that. There's two long bolts there, look, because they hold the field coils as well as the top of the motor. There's nothing to lose by trying to repair it. That top should come off. There's the top come off now, look. Put that away. You can see the bearing on the top there. Now that one's fine. You see, if it had been just that bearing, I could have replaced that without taking all the fan unit off, but it isn't. That bearing's fine. I'll get rid of the field coils. And there's the armature, and straight away you can see, look, Look at the movement in there. The main thing is, let's hope it hasn't damaged the shaft, because if it's damaged the shaft, we're stuffed. Oops. No, it hasn't. There's the armature, and there's the little bearing on it, look. And straight away you can see it's rough, and look at the movement on it. Now, having got the armature out with the two bearings on, the next job we've got to do is to get the bearing off. And for that you really need a bearing puller like this one I've got here. Now, before you do it, get the nut that holds the fan on and screw that on, because that will protect the end in case it's rather tight. Also, it will keep the bearing extractor on the end of the shaft to stop it moving over to the side. Additionally, if you do mark the end of the thread in any way, then as you take the nut off, it will tend to correct it. So we'll just pop that around there. Be very careful that you don't damage the armature windings, and just pop that in there. You see, that nut will hold the extractor in place. There's the little armature, look. The armature, the commutator looks okay, it looks fairly clean. It would be really annoying, wouldn't it, if after doing all this work I find the armature's faulty and it sparks like mad anyway, and I've wasted my time. But we'll have a sort about in the scrimper's magic shed and see if we can find a bearing to fit it. Now, if you're a scrimper like me, you'll probably have a box of bearings handy somewhere. This is my box of assorted large bearings, and this is my little drawer of small bearings. Now, most of these have come out of things, either spare ones from jobs or ones that I've taken out of equipment that's been broken up and thrown away. Interesting enough, that bearing there, look, I know exactly what that is. That's a Hoover Keymatic model 3224-3226 front ball bearing. Oh, there's a Hoover ball bearing in cage for Hoover 652-1334 range. It's a bit rough looking. I've probably kept that to use on one of my whirly gigs or something like that. It's obviously not a new one. There's various ones in there. There's one that looks similar, but obviously it's going to be too big for our job, so I don't think I'll have much luck in there. So I'll put that one aside and go to the small drawer. Right, there you go. I'll tip the bearing. That's a nice little collection, look like. All sorts in there. Some of the... I'll take the glass over and show. I know what that's said of. That's said of a disk drive or a hard drive. Look at these lovely little bearings. It seems a shame to throw them away, and I've actually used them on different projects. And my bandsaw needed some guides, and I found a couple of bearings in here that fitted perfectly. Anyway, let's get back to the job in hand. Oh, that one looks more promising. Unfortunately, these aren't shielded, but they'll probably do the job if it fits on there. Look, I think that's perfect actually. Yeah, that is actually the one that will do the job, folks, but it's not shielded and the dust might get in it. But then again, what have we got to lose? If there's nothing else, I could use that one. But there's a shielded one. That would probably do the job, but he's a little bit dry, he wants grease in, and double shield is awkward. If I can get the shield off, I can put some grease in, I could use that. So it's either a choice of using a shielded bearing and take the thing off, but it's a job getting the shield back on, the metal ones, or to use a bare bearing like that and hope for the best. The trouble with that is that the dust will tend to get into it, but again, you know, it's better than scrapping the thing, it looks like. Well, I've managed to get the shield off the bearing, and I've re-greased it, and I've managed to fit the shield back on. It's not perfect, but it'll do the job fine, I think. So now I've got to fit the bearing on the armature. Now, one thing I should mention, it's easy to forget this, but I've done it myself. Make sure you fit the bearing that the new bearing on, or the replacement, and not the old one you've just taken off. It's very dangerous to leave the old bearing floating about, because that looks like the new one even though it's worn out, and it'll be quite easy for me to fit that back on and not realise until I've done it that that's actually the old one. So put the old one out of the way, take my advice. It's happened to me several times. Let's put it back on the shaft. Don't try clouting it. Just get yourself a little box spanner or something and tap it with the box spanner gently to push it on. I've got the little bearing back in place now, and it feels okay. Just a question now of putting the thing back together again and deciding which end to start with first.